Oh, hi there. So a couple of years ago, a friend of mine asked if there are any wireless RGB mechanical keyboards available in the market. Well, at the time there weren't any available in my country, but now you can actually buy one. Meet the Razer Blackwidow V3 Pro. This is a full-size wireless mechanical keyboard complete with fully addressable bright RGB backlight.
I don't really know what comes next, I'm just doing my best even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out.
Now before we get into the details, one thing I do want to say that even though this is a wireless keyboard, functionality wise it is no different than Razer's wired keyboards. This means that you get the same bright, fully customizable RGB backlight and all of the keys are individually backlit and you can create your very own effects in Razer Chroma Studio or download them. These ones are from Unreal Hero. I will put the link to his channel and his website in the video's description so you can download these as well. And hey, it also supports Audio Visualizer. You know what, I had my doubts if the Audio Visualizer would work with the wireless Blackwidow or not. Turns out it does. And there are no latency issues. I've played several games and I don't feel any difference between the wireless Blackwidow and the wired Huntsman Elite. The input lag is non-existent. This is due to Razer's Hyperspeed wireless technology. I also want to say that I paid full retail price for this keyboard. We don't really get free stuff around here, so do support the channel by subscribing and liking the video. Alright, so let's continue. So before we proceed any further, let's take a look at what you get inside the box. First off, you get the keyboard itself, the wrist rest, 2.4 GHz wireless receiver, braided USB Type-C cable, quick start guide, and of course, the Razer stickers. By the way, the 2.4 GHz wireless receiver is tucked underneath the keyboard, so you'll have to take it out. Now, as you would expect from an expensive keyboard, the build quality is excellent. It actually looks exactly like the Huntsman Elite. Obviously, you don't get the RGB underglow on the Blackwidow V3 Pro. And just like the Huntsman Elite, the Blackwidow V3 Pro also has an aluminum faceplate. And thanks to this, the keyboard feels solid and there is almost no flex to it. Fun fact, the bottom is made out of translucent plastic so you can actually see the backlight through the bottom. But nonetheless, it is still a solid, high quality keyboard. This keyboard also has dual feet for height adjustment, and you can really go to town customizing how high you want the keyboard to be. The plush leatherite wrist rest also feels nice. It is soft and it gives good support. Now, one thing you should keep in mind is that it relies on its rubber feet to stay in place and does not stick to the keyboard magnetically. But this should not be an issue since it does not move by itself as long as your palm is resting on it. The keyboard is fairly heavy. At about 1.2 kilos, I would not call this thing portable. If you want something more portable to carry around with your laptop, you might want to take a look at the V3 Mini Hyperspeed Edition. Oh, and did I mention it's also got 3 standard media keys, a volume rocker, and a mute button. By the way, these can be reassigned to any function you want in the Synapse software. I think that's kinda cool. The switches on the Blackwidow V3 Pro are Razer's very own mechanical switches. You get 2 options, green switches which have a tactile feedback along with the classic clicky sound to them which people tend to associate with mechanical keyboards. You also get the Blackwidow V3 Pro in yellow switches. These are linear and silent. This is how they sound like. So yeah, pick your poison. I personally love the tactile feedback along with the clicky sound, so that's why I picked the Blackwidow V3 Pro with the green switches. Let me give you guys a quick sound test. And most of the work I do is type out scripts and writing video descriptions, and let me tell you, it is a great keyboard for typing. The tactile feedback along with the audible click sound is extremely satisfying. Now these green mechanical switches have 50-gram actuation force, and coming from a 45-gram actuation force opto mechanical switch, it takes a little while to get used to, especially while gaming. Even though both these keyboards have switches that give you a tactile feedback along with the clicky sound, they feel very different to type on. In my opinion, I prefer the optomechanical switches on the Huntsman Elite for gaming because they feel faster due to the lower 45-gram actuation force. But when it comes to typing, I prefer the green mechanical switches. Man, I can type for hours on this keyboard. It just feels so good. But once again, this is a personal choice, and if you are making a choice between these two, I would suggest that you go out and try these switches yourself and make a decision. One thing you gotta keep in mind though, these keys are pretty loud, so it's not suitable for quiet environment like an office setting or a recording studio. If you want a keyboard with silent switches, you might want to take a look at the V3 Pro with the yellow linear silent switches. And speaking of the keycaps, the OEM keycaps are double shot ABS, not double shot PBT. And these have a matte texture to them which gives a fairly decent grip, and they feel really good for typing as well as gaming. But I am going to swap these out for a slightly higher quality double shot PBT pudding keycaps from HyperX, and you can clearly see the difference these keycap makes in the amount of backlight that spills out. One of the reasons for this is that they have made the switch housing transparent, and it really shows when you use these pudding keycaps. I will put the purchase link in the video's description if you want these set of keycaps for your own Razer keyboard. But for now, I am going to demonstrate using the OEM keycaps because I want to show you the backlighting as it is in its OEM condition. But yeah, if you want better backlighting, get yourself these pudding keycaps. They will make the backlight spill out all over the keyboard. Now, there are 3 ways you can connect the keyboard to your PC. There is a little button on the left side of the keyboard which lets you switch between the different connection modes. So the first one is the wireless 2.4 GHz mode. For this, you have to use the included dongle. You can also connect the keyboard using Bluetooth. Just change the mode over to BT and you are good to go. And lastly, you can always use the keyboard in wired mode. For this, leave the switch in the off position and connect using the USB Type-C cable, and it will function as a regular wired keyboard. This is a really good thing because after 7 or 8 years, the lithium battery inside this thing will be dead. Then you can use this keyboard as a regular wired keyboard. One thing that I really like is that you can seamlessly share the keyboard between 2 PCs. So right now the 2.4 GHz receiver is plugged in into my desktop PC, and you can see it is working with my desktop. Now, if I change the mode selector to Bluetooth, the keyboard will automatically connect to my laptop because it's already paired, and after a few seconds it will start working with my notebook. So there you go. So this actually eliminates the need of having 2 keyboards on the desk if you are using 2 PCs simultaneously. And you can actually pair 3 Bluetooth devices by pressing the function key and selecting 1, 2 or 3. Now, if you want to take full advantage of the Blackwidow V3 Pro, then you must download and install the Razer Synapse software. I'll put the download link in the video's description. Anyways, the Razer Synapse software will unlock the full potential of this keyboard. So once you download and install the Razer Synapse software, you will see this dashboard. It shows you all of the Razer devices that are plugged in into your PC, and then you have the different modules. By the way, when you are installing the Razer Synapse software, you will have to check these boxes to install all of these modules. And this also includes the Chroma visualizer. So this is what I was using at the starting of the video, and whenever you play an audio, it will turn the keyboard along with all of your Razer devices into a visualizer. So this actually looks really cool. So let's go back into the dashboard and click on the keyboard. By the way, it also shows you the level of charge in the keyboard. Now clicking on the keyboard will take you to the profiles page where you can actually save different profiles to the keyboard itself. And all of the keys can be reassigned for different functions. If we scroll down, you have the gaming mode, which will disable the Windows key. Now let's get into the fun part, the lighting. So you have the brightness control over here. By the way, 40% brightness is actually more than enough to see the letters on the keys. Here you have a couple of quick effects. Right now it is running through the wheel effect. Then you've got the wave effect, and a lot of people actually love the wave effect. Then you can also set a static color if you want. Now I'm not gonna go through each and every one of these effects. I think these are kind of boring. If you really want to unlock the full RGB potential of the Blackwidow V3 Pro, then you gotta take a look at the advanced effects and the Chroma Studio. And using the Chroma Studio, you can unlock the full RGB potential of the Blackwidow V3 Pro along with any other Razer devices that you might have. Now you can create your very own effects, but one of the best things is that you can actually download different lighting effects for the keyboard. These are from Unreal Hero, as you might be able to tell. So Unreal Hero has a lot of lighting effects for Razer Chroma devices. So let me actually show you how you can download this. Let's download the Matrix 2.0 effect. So scroll down, click on download, wait for it to download. Once the effect has been downloaded, go back to the Chroma Studio, click on this button and select import and browse for the file that you have just downloaded. So this is the one, double click and select import. Once the lighting effect has been added in Chroma Studio, select it from over here. So we have just downloaded this Matrix lighting profile. So there you go. It now works on our keyboard as well as all of the other Razer Chroma devices. So you must use the Chroma Studio in case you want to unlock the full RGB potential of your Razer Chroma devices. And do check out Unreal Hero. This guy has some amazing Razer Chroma effects that you must try out. And hey, if you don't like the colors that Unreal Hero has used, you can always tweak them to your liking. For example, I have tweaked the colors in the Pastel Fusion lighting profile. So you can really go to town customizing the RGB backlighting on your Razer Chroma keyboard using the Chroma Studio. I am actually quite surprised with the battery life. A full charge lasts about 6 days, which is really good considering I never switched off the backlight. This is with about 4 to 5 hours of runtime every day with the backlight set to 40%, and the keyboard is set to dim the backlight after 5 minutes and power saving turns on after 15 minutes. So I charged the keyboard to 100% on 10th Feb, that was Thursday morning, unplugged it at around 10 am and it was down to 20% at about 2:30 am Wednesday morning. So just shy of 1 complete week. I can actually continue using it because there is still charge left in the keyboard, but I don't really want to drain the battery below 20% because that's not a good thing to do. That will speed up the degradation of the lithium battery inside the keyboard. So always recharge your keyboard when the power level is at about 20% and unplug the keyboard when it's charged up to 85 to 90%. That's the golden rule if you want the lithium battery to last a really long time. But nonetheless, I am very happy with the battery backup of the Blackwidow V3 Pro. You also might have noticed that I've swapped out the OEM keycaps and now I've got these pudding keycaps from HyperX. These actually help in conserving the battery power because with these, you don't have to crank the backlight all the way up. Right now the keyboard is set to 40% brightness and as you can see, the keys are quite bright. These keycaps allow quite a bit of light to pass through. Heck, even 20% seems more than enough. So this is an upgrade I would definitely recommend, not just for aesthetic purposes but also for better battery life. And if you are wondering, yes, you can charge your keyboard using a power bank. The one that I'm using here is from Xiaomi and it's got a crazy 30,000 mAh battery capacity. I've got a review of this power bank on the channel, so do check that video out if you are interested. Lastly, a feature that I would like to see on these wireless Blackwidows is proximity detection for the backlight. To demonstrate how this works, I've got my Logitech K800 keyboard and you will see that it turns its backlight on whenever my hands are near the keyboard. And the backlight automatically turns off whenever I'm done typing. So this feature will ultimately give you better battery backup. Maybe we will see this feature in the next revision of the wireless Blackwidows. So, should you buy this wireless mechanical keyboard? Well, as always, the answer lies somewhere in between. Ask yourself a couple of questions. Do you need to move your keyboard around? Like for example, you might want to move the keyboard to make space for studying or for your laptop. Or maybe you find it comfortable to play games or type leaning back into your chair. The reason why I purchased this keyboard is because I frequently need space to film videos on my desk. Sometimes I'll have the laptop sitting here with the camera pointing at it, and let me tell you, it is not convenient to move a wired keyboard around. I have ended up damaging the braided cable of my Huntsman Elite, and that sucks because this is a very expensive keyboard. Now if I want to sell this thing, this little damage will absolutely destroy its value. So this is why I had to upgrade to a wireless mechanical keyboard. So according to me, the bottom line is, you should not upgrade to a wireless keyboard unless it is something that you really need. Wired keyboards are perfectly fine. The Razer Huntsman Elite is a great alternative to the V3 Pro. In fact, in my country, the Huntsman Elite cost less than the Blackwidow V3 Pro. And it's also got this awesome RGB underglow. And fun fact, its wrist rest also has this RGB underglow which looks amazing. By the way, I've also reviewed the Huntsman Elite on the channel, so do check that video out. I'll put the link in the video's description. But I have to say, you will really appreciate the convenience of a wireless keyboard, especially when you need space on your desk. This is something that people don't realize until they actually need to move their wired keyboard around. Well, at least I did not. So yes, wireless keyboards do have their advantages, and having a mechanical wireless keyboard is amazing. Traditionally with wireless keyboards, you have to make compromises. But with the Blackwidow V3 Pro, you don't have to. This thing has every feature that you would find on a regular wired mechanical keyboard, and that is awesome. So I guess that brings us to the end of the video. If you guys have any questions about the Blackwidow V3 Pro, let me know in the comments down below, and I will try to answer all your queries. So thank you for watching, stay tuned for more videos, and I will see you guys next time.